gentlemen, thank you for being with us in our family virtual majlis. I would like to welcome you and wish you all the best in this session. It is important to put on record that it is 7:30 p.m. right now, Sunday, 11th July 2021, coinciding with the adoption of Bahrain boards to the global industry classification standard GATE. This is the 7th edition of Family Virtual Majlis, and on the closing of occasion of Eid, I would like to take this opportunity to wish you and your beloved family Eid Mubarak. Thank you. Ali, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your opening remark. My name is Ali Al-Tarif and I will be your moderator tonight. The topic is ESG journey, setting the foundation. Tonight, we have with us a think tank from the top quartile in the quadrant of this important subject matter, which is considered an integral pillar of our Vision 2030 and the government action plan. Plus, I can say it is in line with last year's 2020 Sustainability ESG Guide issued by Bahrain Bourse. For those who are from the region and beyond, the guiding principles of our Economic Vision 2030 are sustainability, competitiveness, and fairness. In the Kingdom of Bahrain, we all strive to achieve a safer, better, and a greener economy for ourselves and future generations. The principle is easy to discuss, whilst the application is harder. Bahrain Bourse released its sustainability guide in June 2020. On its first anniversary, I can report that within 6 months of launch, 33% of our locally listed companies had already started to report on ESG. Finally, and prior to the introduction of our panel, I would like to praise everyone's effort to control and contain the pandemic. My family and I would like to wish you and your families all good health. Therefore, let us have you all CC19 negative so we can flatten the virus curve. However, ESG positive so we can steepen the sustainability curve. The 5 speakers this evening are Ms. Dana Bouhidji as first speaker, Sheikh Badr bin Rashid Al Khalifa as second speaker, then Mrs. Rafa Qaddura as third speaker, followed by Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalid Al Khalifa as fourth speaker, and last but with no means least, Ms. Afnan Saleh as our dear fifth speaker. Each speaker will have no more than 10 minutes, so we will finish within 50 minutes and we'll have 30 minutes for Q&A.
Thanks, Ali. And, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone, all the participants and the people that chose to attend today. I'd like to especially thank you and your family for hosting this. I think, if anything, this gives an indication of how the community's awareness with regards to sustainability is increasing. The curiosity is there, and it goes beyond the corporate. So for that, I think we should all be very proud of ourselves for taking the time to get to know this a bit more. I'd just like to take everyone through NBB's more recent journey when it comes to sustainability. And hopefully, by sharing our individualized approaches, we'll be helping each other and growing this very important aspect of our operations and our business going forward. So at NBB, we've been looking at sustainability for quite some time. If we were to focus on 2021 specifically, I'd say that there were a number of key initiatives that took place. For those of you that have been keeping an eye on us in the media, you'd know that we had officially appointed a sustainability officer, chief sustainability officer myself, and later successfully appointed a sustainability committee, which I'm personally very proud of. 6 members, very diverse backgrounds, obviously gender balance is there. 5 of the 6 are actually also graduates of a leadership executive training program that NBB supports, the RISE program. And it's a testimony to the fact that local Bahraini talent are very capable and can easily adapt and adopt, and in a dynamic approach pick up on what is required to continually upscale. So we were all appointed, and with that as well, the responsibility of sustainability to further the sort of commitment towards it was adopted by a board committee, the NRGS committee. For those of you in banking, you know that it's a requirement by the regulator to have a governance associated with the NRC committee traditionally. At NBB, we took it to the next level, and the same committee is now responsible for overlooking sustainability initiatives and ensuring that sustainability-related strategies align to the business strategy. What we did later, sorry, I think there's a lag in the timing of the slides. Yes. So what we did later to continuously keep yourselves, all the stakeholders, external parties up to date with us on all our initiative was commit to a quarterly reporting in the form of a non-financial video. This video showcases the main achievements within ESG related considerations in a short video. It was around, I think, 6 minutes. And it aligns our initiatives to the sustainability framework which we've adopted. Beyond that, I just wanted to take a minute and share a high-level distinguishing between CSR and ESG. I think maybe many of the people around the table might not be completely aware of the difference between the two. There's definitely a big overlap in that concept. CSR is something that I'm sure all of our corporates have adopted and embraced very early on at MBB. It became a more formal approach since 1980. But it's more or less, it was not based on not on a scientific approach. It was more of a driver towards being a good corporate. Now, with the more recent introduction of ESG considerations, and for that I would thank the regulators for starting encouraging us to think in that manner, we have now moved into a more systematic approach to the same concepts, maybe taking it to the next level, including a business impact assessment on all the initiatives that we take on board. We look at things now not only as a do-good concept, but also an assessment of operations and how to mitigate risk through ESG considerations. And most dear to my heart, honestly, is the fact that stakeholders today are more included in our mindset when we think of strategy. And you'll see that reflected in the ESG initiatives, which we've adopted and continue to adopt. Why is this happening all of a sudden? I mean, Ali pointed out earlier that impressively, as a community, in 6 months, you've seen a big movement towards ESG consideration. And for that, I would draw reference to, obviously, Bahrain's Vision 2030, which is completely aligned to Sustainable Development Goals. I think more also impactful is the regulators move towards it. We've seen Bahrain Bourse encourage us to adopt certain KPIs that are linked to ESG. More recently, the Central Bank of Bahrain issued a survey, which obviously gave us the indication that this is the way forward going in the future, even by our regulator. This obviously applies to banks only. In terms of rating agencies, I think the more regional agency which we are all being assessed unsolicited by is ESG Invest. They tend to offer ratings for companies that are listed within the region, so Bahrain and other GCC countries. And obviously the markets in themselves globally are indicating that ESG is something that is taken very seriously from a business perspective going forward. So with all that in mind, at MBB, we decided to specifically define our corporate purpose. So basically, how are we going to translate that ESG into our day-to-day operations? And for that, we looked at our competitive advantage, who we are, how we're positioned locally. We looked at our key stakeholders who are important to us, and putting those together, we came up with materiality topics, or simply put, the areas where we wish to focus on from ESG perspective. By way of reference, materiality topics are things that are quite dynamic. They require a continuous reassessment. So, a good example of that, for example, employee well-being was always obviously on the forefront of our minds as a corporate. But with the more recent pandemic, it moved up in terms of priority within our materiality topics. So this is a good example of how dynamic these considerations are. We put all that together and we came up with our bespoke sustainability framework at MBB, which is based on 7 main pillars. Those pillars are not new, but now at least they are defined, and we link everything in terms of initiatives and awareness to those pillars. So to help us formalize in our minds our approach. So governance and ethical behaviors, again, not something new for any corporate and specifically for banks. Nurturing our workforce, I'd say since 2017 onwards, NBB has taken this pillar more seriously, and now we continue to track it and report on it in a formal matter. Economic growth, being the national bank in Bahrain, we choose to participate beyond the scope of our function as a bank, and we align ourselves very much to the government of Bahrain. And maybe for those that have been following us, you'd notice that we have been more active in the past years in that area in support of government of Bahrain initiatives. Serving our customers is something that is consistent across. Community investment is, as mentioned, at NBB, something that we've been committing to more formally for the past 40 years, and I'll share with you a bit of details later. The interesting and more newly introduced focus are the pillars around the environment and aligning ourselves to that. So preserving natural resources and ensuring that our banking initiatives are linked to environmental friendly initiatives in terms of responsible banking. These are things that I think are more recent in our forefront, even though in the past there has been initiatives that were in support of those pillars. So with the community investment, just to give you an example of our commitment, as I mentioned, for the past 40 years, we have been committed as MBB towards giving back to the community. Mostly from 1980 to 2018, it's been in the form of CSR or through our donation and contribution fund. Throughout those years, we have a lot of success stories by being a good participant within the community. 2019, it took a more formal approach, and I still remember the meeting I had with Marwa Al-Masqati from Bahrain Bourse, where she introduced this concept. And I was very impressed with the fact that, oh, wow, so there is a way to measure, and with information and data, we can actually track and take it to the next level. And I'm very, very grateful for Marwa for taking the time and hand-holding us at the time. I remember there were representatives from my team that went with me in that meeting. And this was honestly our first introduction into sustainability as a concept. And we were quick to sort of self-teach ourselves how to formally capture the information, the data, and how to focus on creating a strategy that's more aligned. Since 2020, we've had a designated task force from within the team. Again, a group of young Bahraini potential leaders, whom I'm very proud of, are the ones that took the initiatives and ensured that they were continuously taking NBB to the next level when it came to a commitment towards ESG. 2021, we are very serious and very dedicated in a very formal approach, which is what we're doing now as part of that commitment towards sustainability. How are we making it happen? We believe in inclusivity from within, inclusivity externally. So definitely a shared responsibility. It's not something that a certain person or department is responsible for. It is something that we completely embrace together as a team. We focused a lot on awareness. We have an enormous buy-in by the board. You saw in terms of a commitment, executive management support, and push towards sustainability that trickled down to departmental ownership. You see it in departmental KPIs, you see it in individual KPIs. And the strongest force moving us towards greater sustainability consideration is our Empowered Task Force. Through their awareness and through their passion towards sustainability, they have been successful in driving a number of key initiatives, some of which we've shared in our video, a lot of which is in the pipeline, which you're going to hear about hopefully in the coming few months. But they are the true drivers behind it. And in a nutshell, this is what we've done at MBB so far. It's a new journey, and I just wanted to share where we're at today with everyone else. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Ms. Dana Bouhadji, for your insights and useful information. Drawing Batilko to frame, Sheikh Badr bin Rashid Al Khalifa, the mic is all yours.
Thank you, Ali. I'm having a bit of difficulty uploading my slide. So would you like me to go ahead and talk about it, or do you want to skip my turn? And
No, if you like to speak without sharing the slide, no problem.
Okay. All right. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us to this very exciting gathering with representatives from major companies discussing a very important topic, sustainability, and in particular ESG. I will not repeat some of what Dana has mentioned in her very informative presentation on MBB's journey and sustainability. We had initial talks with Bahrain Ports a couple of years ago, and they introduced us to Sustainability Excellence, a consultancy that specialized in producing sustainability reports, as well as guiding organizations on how to improve on sustainability and ESG aspects. In Batilco, we have taken this very seriously, and we made a commitment at the executive level of the organization, and we have embedded the sustainability in our strategic direction and our strategic objectives. We've realized that it's very important to adopt this approach for a number of reasons. One, today, if you're looking to expand globally, if you're looking to invite partners and strategic partnerships and invite investors from overseas, sustainability is one of the things that international players really look at. They wouldn't invest or partner with companies that they have poor sustainability programs or they lack sustainability programs. So we realized that as a corporate, it's very important for us to have a strong sustainability practice. Also, we have a responsibility as a national company towards the Kingdom of Bahrain, towards the sustainability of the society as well. And we need to play our part in that aspect. We know that Bahrain has a number of very ambitious initiatives under the umbrella of sustainability, one of which is renewable energy. And there are some serious targets that the Sustainability Authority has put in place for producing clean energy by 2024. Reflecting on that and what we have done at Batilco, we have looked at sustainability from 3 dimensions. One, and first of all, is to assign accountability within the organization to take control and take full responsibility of the sustainability journey. And that at the moment falls under the corporate communication business unit. However, to execute the action plan and recommendations we have received from Sustainability Excellence, we know that we need to engage our internal stakeholders, for example, HR, procurement, audit, and each department that has relevance to the action plan. So we established, similar to NBB, an internal committee headed by myself. It has representatives from various departments. Members of the committee have made a commitment as a formal committee with a charter, purpose, and targets. The committee have been assigned their actions and their targets, and we meet a periodic basis, and we have a performance review on the achievements of the committee, and that's a cycle that will repeat and is synchronized with the reporting that is done by Sustainability Excellence and the scoring that is posted on Bahrain Bourse. On the other hand, we know that internally we have to implement sustainability in our operation and processes. And the biggest area we've looked at is energy consumption. Today at Betilco, we have considerable energy consumption. We have data centers, we have our different location, towers, 5 different facilities, including the biggest, which is the Hamala. And under Betilco's operation, we have 3 very modern data centers that require a lot of energy. So clean energy, we thought, is something that we need to look at. And we thought, we need to take serious steps towards producing clean energy. And we've started phase 1. Phase 1 is building a 1 megawatt solar park. And that's going to be down in our land in Askar, more known as the Earth Station, as where the big satellites are. So this is a 1 megawatt plant producing 1.6 megawatt per hour of electricity on an annual basis. It was scheduled to be completed by the end of this year. We're ahead of schedule, and hopefully it will be commissioned 1st of October. And this is the first phase of the project. And we're already preparing the case study for phase 2 on expanding the solar park. And we'll also have the input and support from EWA and the Sustainability Energy Authority, SEA. Our vision is very ambitious, is on the long term, is to achieve zero or neutral emission operation, which means we produce clean energy that's equivalent to all the energy that we consume in all our different locations. We know now a lot of companies in the States and in Europe are following that approach. Some companies have done serious commitments. This is our vision. We know that there are a lot of challenges, and it's not easy to realize, and there's a lot of investment involved. But we have taken the first steps, and we're very committed, and it's something that we believe in, and we think is for the good for the organization, for the community, and for the Kingdom of Bahrain. This is, in summary, what we have done so far, and the plans we have for the future. And we're glad to make acquaintance with colleagues that we already know, but getting in more formal contact on a subject that I think is very important to all of us, and a subject that's very new to Bahrain, and it needs a lot of coordination to make some serious steps. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and back to you, Mr. Ali.
Thank you, Sheikh Badr bin Rashid Al Khalifa, for your excellent speech and for sticking to the 10 minutes guide. I would like to call on Mrs. Rafa Qaddura to enlighten us about BBK and the way forward with ESG. Kindly unmute, dear. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Sheikh Badr, for your valuable insights. Thank you for the family virtual majlis, giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of BBK about our roadmap to sustainability and setting the foundation. I would like to tackle, it will be better than 10 minutes, Ali, don't worry. I would like to tackle the start of the trend and the foundation. And it is the case that I mentioned it earlier. We have all been doing a lot of CSR, and we all take pride to that. We have been, for the case of BBK, 50 years of operations, 50 years, BBK has been committed to the society and financing mega projects, offering innovative banking solutions, and like 50 years of corporate social responsibility. And here I really like to always mention that in the first board meeting, in the minutes, there's a mention of a donation. We have been working towards corporate governance, and we want many awards from Hawkama. We worked towards Bahrainization, and we reached 96%, if not more, of Bahrainization. Gender equality, again, women are 38% of the workforce. So here I would like to stress on the fact that many of us, like BBK, have been able to contribute to the 17 SDG goals, such as decent work and economic growth, gender equality, quality education, health. And again, what I would like to say is that sustainability, although it's new in its scientific way, is not new in what we've been doing. So instead of saying setting the foundation, I would rather talk about how we are evolving into sustainability and sustainability reporting. What is new? What are we doing differently today? We are at BBK identifying key ESG issues. We are assessing benchmarking performance against ESG international standards like GRI, UN, the SDGs by the UN, Sustainability Accounting Standards Boards, Bahrain Vision 2020, Bahrain Bourse ESG Reporting Guide, which, like my colleague has mentioned, have benefited us a lot. Since 2019, we've attended many of the sessions that the bourse has presented to us. So we have finally taken those ESG goals and learned how to report them, because reporting is one of the most essential things today. Sustainability is not a good to have, it's a mainstream. Listed companies are being assessed by various ESG agencies on their risks and impact. Not reporting is a missed opportunity and translate in the lack of trust by investors. So disclosures of data related to ESG is key to achieving long-term value and build trust among investors. So what did we do? We have shaped an ESG framework, again, like NBB would have done, or Batelco, since they are the companies we've heard so far, to align more with the Bahrain 2030 priorities, to align with BBK strategic initiatives, achieve risk reduction and cost-saving opportunities, and meet ESG expectations of investors and credit rating agencies. And here I would like, since we are discussing the subject, I would like to highlight the fact that reports are sold on the shelves of many companies, and scoring is there when the concerned organization is not always aware. They are scoring us based on disclosures. And a lot of us, a lot of organizations have so much more than what is being disclosed. We usually disclose as per regulatory requirements. But if we disclose more, we get our scoring in terms of ESG much higher. On another note, of course, we have, based on materiality metrics and key issues, we have defined key sustainability pillars: good corporate governance, responsible employer, long-term positive customer relationship and experiences, and social responsibility mindset. And again, these are pillars where we've given, put a lot of initiatives in them. Good corporate governance, again, we have been reporting as per regulatory and requirements, but there are still gaps in terms of ESG reporting and not in terms of regulatory requirements. So we're looking where the gaps are and we're filling them. Finally, what is the most important is stakeholder engagement at all levels. Developing a framework and a strategy would not be possible without the engagement of the board, the management, and the employees at all levels of the organizations. And this is something, again, Dana has mentioned. So I will take you through how we've done it. We've created a committee. And again here, just to say, when we came to create that committee, it really involved every single division in the bank. Everyone is involved with ESG. The board, of course, oversees the implementation of our strategy and the KPIs through the nomination and remuneration and governance committee. And finally, the employees. Engaging them is essential. Training them and ensuring they integrate sustainability solution across the bank's business conduct and operation is very important. Understanding the data relevant to ESG is very important in order for us to be able to report it and disclose it. Every unit, every department of the organization is a key player in the ESG reporting. Finally, we will continue leading a role in sustainability with continuous training, development of the employees, ongoing enhancement of our digital offering, green finance. And this is something we will put a lot of efforts in, have a lot of initiatives in achieving support sustainability energy solutions also. Finally, disclosures, again, I will stress on the disclosures because this is what enhances our rating, our scoring, and that's how we can see that all the organization adopting sustainability are able to contribute to Bahrain Vision 2030. Finally, thank you for this great opportunity. Thank you for the speakers. Thank you, Ali, for letting us be here and talk about this topic that we all have in common now.
Thank you, Mrs. Rafa Qaddura, for shedding light on BBK Group and its solid initiatives concerning ESG. Can I kindly request Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalid Al Khalifa to pick up from here?
Yes, thank you, Ali. Definitely a great panel, panelists that we have. I'm quite honored to be amongst you. Thank you, Dana, Sheikh Badr, Rafa, for your presentations. Great to be here in today's Majlis. I'm mostly quite excited to have such a dialogue and such discussions with quite notable, successful, quite impactful organizations in Bahrain. And if you allow me to briefly cover what has Zain done, or is working on currently, whether it's on how it started on sustainability and where it is today with the ESGs. I don't have a prepared presentation. The way it was positioned, mashallah, it's I like to always keep it as a majlis. However, at the same time, قلت لا, we have to present at least something that is kind of providing a nutshell of the kind of the vision, mission, and our pillars that we focus on in Zain when it comes to sustainability. But before that, I would like to say that the journey towards sustainability in Zain started back in 2011. So effectively, we're in our 10th year, in our 10-year journey in sustainability. Thankfully, this has been, a strategy from the top, from the board, from our chairman, on the group level, all the way down to Zain's operations across 7 countries in the region. So today, I might give you a glimpse on what Zain Bahrain has done, but it's a bit bigger than that going forward. Also of notable concern here, and I'll mention it earlier and later on, is the sustainability, the Sustainable Development Goals. We have signed up as a signatory to these goals, and hence we are committed to those goals back in 2016. And so in every metric, with every operation in Zain's footprint, the goals are measured. So what Zain Bahrain is doing, what Zain Sudan, Iraq, and so forth. And so it's in our mandate that we report on the goals and commit to the goals going forward. If you allow me, if I can, I will share the sustainability report, maybe a specific slide. I don't know if you could see it. Marrida Ali, you can confirm?
We see it, Sheikh Abdallah.
You see it? Okay, yes. Perfect. So I tried to be in a nutshell, try to recap everything that we as Zain Bahrain and essentially Zain are working on when it comes to sustainability. Let me start from the left and start from the mission. And it's quite important to emphasize on a specific phrase there, which is to provide meaningful connectivity that leads to equitable systemic change. This is a very important statement for us that we've committed for and we stand by going forward. Of course, it's grounded by the UN Sustainable Development Goals to ultimately empower Zain's communities across its footprint. This is the essence of our sustainability strategy, a meaningful connectivity for all. Our vision, of course, is to reduce inequalities, safeguard the planet, foster innovation, and build prosperous communities. Something that we replicate across the region, whether it's in Jordan with their refugee camps, whether in Sudan or Iraq with the difficult, challenging economic and social matters in the respective countries, but also in Saudi, also in Bahrain, assessing the deficits and the gaps in each and our respective markets. Of course, this strategy is based on the below indices. Effectively, we're aligned to these indices. Maybe you could see a few that are quite notable. I can mention actually our recent one, which is SASB. It's a very common international framework that we are proud to be aligned with. And again, it's great for our investors to be rest assured that our strategies and our framework of a reporting of the sustainability report is based on that standard. Of course, we also have the let me close this here. The climate change. So these are the 4 pillars. We're very, very brief about them. These are the pillars that we're pushing our initiatives for in each of our respective markets. Very, very briefly, I don't want to but very briefly, climate change. Building a climate change scenario based on 1.5 centigrade. Maybe some are familiar with this. If you go to the Paris Agreement that is signed up internationally, every country, including Bahrain, has signed up to that. And so we're aligned to that goal. And so we are going to do this or achieve it by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, optimization, mitigate risks, and identify new market opportunities. Same goes with sustainable business. We reinvent our products and services to create social and financial value. Inclusion is a very important topic. Lately, we've been really pushing forward with this with our appointment of our recent new position on sustainability and inclusivity. Our very own Fatma Haider has joined in that role. She's professionally trained, quite experienced, person in this area, especially in topics related to diversity and inclusion. And so we look at in this area to reduce the inequality gap related to gender divide, ethnicities, nationalities, disabilities, rural communities, marginalized, low-income, and elderly refugees. It's quite a wide one, but at least for in Bahrain, we look at specific areas like gender diversity and disabilities. That's a very important topic for us. And finally, of course, Generation Youth. We're very proud of Zain Youth, the Zain Youth program, originally called the FU1 program. But our goal in this program is to empower 16 million children and youth across Zain's footprint to build the resilience and safeguard generations by providing them tools that will enable them to reach their maximum potential. So this is something that we will, push and achieve for, inshallah, going forward. And it's kind of, where we are in a nutshell. If you allow me just very briefly for a minute, share with you, if you want to learn more further about this, you can go to our website, which we report on a sustainability metrics. Here on climate change, of course, by purpose, I chose specifically this area because we purposefully disclose our goals and our measurements and our CO2 emissions across this page. This is across our footprint, of course. And so this is something we're proud of, and we would like to push forward and support the community as well, which includes corporates like yourselves, aligning jointly together, hopefully. But this is something that we hope to achieve going forward and not only make us proud, but make Bahrain really shine in sustainability going forward. And finally, of course, ESGs. ESGs is very recent. It's we investors now has become a very important topic, and hence we are we have shared our sustainability reports with our investment community, and stand by for insights that they have in mind that we would like to elaborate. Thank you very much for that. I think I don't know if I've passed my 10 minutes, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalid Al Khalifa, for your kindness and expertise. I am really delighted and excited by the information learned just now from yourself. Last, but with no means least, I present to you Ms. Afnan Saleh, who will provide us with Bahrain Islamic Bank thematical paradigm shift to sustainability ESG. Spotlight on Ms. Afnan Saleh, and here she goes.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for the chance. Being last, I really enjoyed listening to every one of you guys, and thank you very much for the insight on your journey throughout the years for sustainability. Thank you all. I will not talk about our journey in sustainability because we are quite new in sustainability. We've just launched one sustainability annual report last year in line with the group approach, and having to have a sustainability consolidated annual report. So I will talk about Islamic banks and sustainability. So when we started drafting the annual report. As I said, we are new, so we've hired a consultant. That consultant has to sit with every department in order to extract data and develop the report. So we've been coordinating those meetings, and I sat with a couple of departments. While they were talking and asking for reports and data, I was like, sitting back and think a little bit. I've reflected on what I'm hearing, and I thought that Islamic banking is not that far away from sustainability objectives. So Islamic banking objectives are in exact line with the sustainability objectives. Islamic banks has its own objectives. It's called مقاصد الشرعية أو مقاصد الشريعة, which is, as I said, in line with the sustainability objectives. And it's not only to prohibit riba, rather it includes circulation of wealth in society, the continuity of investment of the wealth, achieving the economic prosperity for the whole society. So society is embedded, society and social is embedded within the Sharia Islamic standards. Of course, it's done through different activities and transactions. And there is something else called the public benefit. It's called, in the Sharia terminology, it's called maslaha amma. So the public benefit in economic activities. So Islam is Islam in economies means that the economy is more developed and enhanced consequently, it establishes justice to protect the public rights, which is, again, in line with the sustainability standards or the sustainability goals, the United Nations SDGs. So Islamic banks' role goes beyond the interest of shareholders. They also contribute to the society. They do not only provide financing, but share the risk and profit. With the entrepreneurs in order to grow economically together with the society. Then I thought, okay, let me just search more, read about it, put some thoughts around it. Talking about ESG, I will stick to the 10 minutes and maybe less. So the E part, where Islamic banks operate ethically by norm and contribute to the betterment of the whole society and environment, similar to social banking. So that's the environmental side of Islamic Sharia standards. As for the S part, social welfare is important to Islamic banking, represented by its mandatory activities like donations, charity, and zakah. So, as you know, there are numbers that should be taken from the profit of the banks into zakah activities, and that has its own, they call it, they have its own sources to donate and to give away. As for the G, like all my colleagues said, the banking industry has long been the most highly regulated industry. It is regulated by the Central Bank of Bahrain. It is regulated by the commercial law. It is regulated by the other laws, like, for example, Bahrain Bourse guidelines, by the labor law. And on top of the other banks, it is regulated by the IOFI standards. So in a nutshell, I would say that sustainability has its own standards into where to invest, have green products, have green services, and you have to care about the health and welfare of the people. So by Sharia standard, Islamic banks cannot operate in certain industries, like for example, the drug industry, the production of weapon and mass destruction, the tobacco industry, the certain food and beverages industries sectors, like the non-halal beverages and non-halal food companies. Sharia Islamic banks cannot provide services or give transactions to. So that by itself is in line with sustainability. So I thought of let me just try to share this knowledge with the public about Islamic banking, and that's all. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Miss Afnan Saleh, for your short and crisp presentation. Now, the best part, the Q&A session, and the questions on many lips right now are, let's move to Mrs. Marwa Al-Masqati from Bahrain Bourse. Please, go ahead. Thank you, dear.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for this very informative session. It's really great to see a much higher upscale and embracement of sustainability as an entire ecosystem from a very diverse set of players within the market. And that's what we ultimately aim to achieve within our efforts in terms of sustainability. And so I actually have two questions I'd like to direct to BBK. And my questions are similar to the steps we have seen being initiated by NBB. What are the steps being initiated by BBK to appoint a sustainability officer to embrace a sustainability framework as approved by your board? And then what are the other steps being taken by BBK to enhance their current ESG rating and rankings currently publicly available on Bloomberg terminals?
Thank you, Marwa. And once again, like Ali mentioned, I would like to congratulate you for the adoption of the global industry classification standards. And we are very pleased that Bahrain Bourse always brings us the latest in sustainability. And as I mentioned before, 2019, just before the pandemic, we have attended many of these sessions. Regarding the appointment of a sustainability officer, what we've done so far is it's a strategy top-down. So the adoption of sustainability is by the board. We have a committee that was established, and myself as head of corporate communication, I am a coordinator between all the people involved with sustainability. We've created groups taking care of each pillar, groups that will enable us to draft more policies, work on the KPIs, ensure disclosures. So for now, the setup works well, and we'll see after a year or two, I think. Regarding enhancing disclosures, your second question, Marwa, it is on the way. We're having the teams working on additional disclosures to be able to enhance our scoring. I think that was the question, the scoring. And here I would like to mention disclosures is essential. For example, a few years ago when we won the Women Empowerment Award, we have a women empowerment policy, but this policy has never appeared on our website. So our scoring in gender equality was only based on what we've disclosed as a number of women in the workforce. If we had disclosed the policy our scoring would be much higher. So it is really understanding what needs to be disclosed to increase our scoring. That's very important now. I hope I answered the question, Marwa.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Rafa Qadoura, for answering both questions. We are showered by questions from everywhere. So let me call on Ms. Bashair Al-Daif from BNH. Please, short question with short answer, inshallah. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ali. And thank you to all the speakers for this insightful session. My question is to Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalid from Zain. Being a company operating in 7 different countries, how does Zain set its sustainability goals and objectives, especially since it's operating within different ecosystems and different regulatory bodies? If time allows, I would also like, if possible, if he could share with us some of the challenges and how did Zain Group overcome these challenges? Thank you, Ali.
Sheikh Abdullah, if you can unmute. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Bashair, for that question. MashaAllah, great. It's Relax, more than happy to answer on both. So let's put it this way. We don't work from a vacuum perspective as Zain Bahrain. We work together jointly as one group. And so in each operation that we are in, we have our own sustainability function. But it's now, of course, keeping in mind it's centralized at the group level. When it comes to setting the strategies and the vision, the group assesses it across the board on the region by providing a kind of I don't want to say a survey, but an assessment on the ground of the deficits. And I mentioned it very briefly in my presentation. So when we look at, for example, in Bahrain, we look at where the gaps are and where the deficits are, and report on saying, yes, we believe these are the areas that we need to contribute in that will provide impact. Of course, this assessment is done on an annual basis, collated together on the group level, and it sets the strategy going forward. And there will be themes that will come generally across the region, such as climate change, which I referred to. Climate change is impacting us all across the group. So in that issue, it's across the board. All operators, Zain operations are contributing to climate change in some way or form in their respective countries. And it's adapted towards each country by doing, the initiative that they have in mind. Now, going back to the challenges, I'll be honest with you, one of the challenging aspects that I've at least went through, at least for Bahrain, I'm sure it's the same across the region, is the reporting mechanism and the follow-ups. So if you think about it, once the report, our current report ended, the work for the second report literally started the week after. There is no gap. Straight after the completion and publication of our sustainability report that came out quite recently, we immediately picked up on starting the assessment and the reporting on a monthly basis on all the metric points that we have. And of course, if you can imagine, every region and every operator has its own pace in getting the data required. And so there are deadlines to be met. And of course, keep in mind as well, I didn't mention this in my presentation, it's not only collating and providing this data together, it's being audited by a third party. So we not only collect all this data together, there needs to be enough time for a third party, an independent auditor that checks and validates to say, okay, just like a normal auditing that you do for a business, the same goes with the report itself. So that also requires additional time. But nonetheless, 10 years going, alhamdulillah, it's become, I don't want to say a routine, but we're getting the hang of it in the reporting mechanism. But I can say definitely it's a challenge every year.
Thank you, Bashir. Thank you, Sheikh Abdullah. Please, Zoe Beckingham.
Good evening, and thank you to the Al Tarif family for their kind invitation. I'm Zoe Buckingham. I'm an international marketing consultant who has worked across the Middle East. When I was invited, I was interested to hear more about Bahrain's response to ESG. The formal structure of this approach is really impressive, and I was thinking that a future topic could be around data and artificial intelligence and how you're using that. I have a question for Afnan from the Bahrain Islamic Bank. Afnan, could you kindly tell me your thoughts on developing a culture within your organization around ESG matters?
Hi, Zoe. Thank you for your question. Yes, sure. Culture. All right. We have quite experience with developing culture in BISB. Since the new management came, we tried to change the culture, the old culture of BISB. So at the beginning, we've noticed that BISB needs more efforts on compliance. So we've worked since 2016 on developing a compliance culture. After that, a couple of years, we've rebranded and changed to a DNA and values, different values with the general values that needs a set of behaviors to be embedded with to reflect the value. And one of the value was innovation. So we worked on embedding innovation culture in BISB. Sustainability is another form of culture that can be embedded in the organizations. In order to answer that, what is sustainability? Sustainability is meeting the present need without compromising on the future generation to meet their own needs. While culture is simply the way to do things in organizations. So basically, it's a behavior. And behavior can be managed through lots of processes. Managing culture or embedding culture is a cycle it has a cycle of process. Start with commitment, and then with clear expectation, and building momentum, and then instill the capacity for the change. Because culture, embedding new culture is actually is a cycle of change. What we have done is, first, as I said, we have to create commitment. In creating commitment towards sustainability, I would again say we are new in the journey of sustainability, but we had the benefit that the group has started the sustainability journey right before us, a couple of years before us. So the moment we integrated some activities with the group, we've run through lots of awareness sessions and training in sustainability, how board tackle ESG and sustainability, how employees do, what is strategy and stuff like that. So in order to make a commitment, you have to engage the public. Engaging the public through, as I said, awareness, education, introducing challenges, and then send signals. Like when we have this framework, this is the model that you have to follow, and then communicated by tell stories. I remember when we heard stories about success in sustainability. We've heard the committee members talking about their experiences, their testimonials, and then manage the talent. Then if you want people to still commit, you have to have a resource to do that. Most of us have a sustainability officer, have recruited a sustainability officer. Then you have to inform, repeat, and follow up. Then only you will create a commitment. Post commitment in the change cycle, you have to clarify the expectation. Now we've draw the model, the framework and everything, we have to set KPIs related to the sustainability strategy. KPIs has to go to the seniors rather than just putting it on departments, on transactions and stuff. Those have to be the target of every department, and they have to prove it through a transaction, because it's a KPI. There has to be some sort of quantitative indicators to it. New transactions, new products, train people, assess them, and then verify it.
Okay.
Then I have 2 more steps in the cycle.
You took more than steps. You took elevator. More than ladder. يعني. Okay. Just because, sorry to cut you here, but we have so many people pushing questions. We have Mr. Ali Musa asking, and there are 11 questions there. So sorry, Afnan, I will have to stop you here. Can we have Mrs. Maureen Bannerman? She just joined us again, followed by Central Bank of Bahrain, Mrs. Alia Umran. Please go ahead. Sorry, Afnan, again. Huh?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me to the family virtual majlis, and apologies for my technical difficulties earlier. What a fantastic forum this is, and I really do thank you for inviting me. I found it absolutely inspiring to hear the 5 speakers today, and I've certainly learned a lot and made lots and lots of notes. I do have 2 questions. I'm going to be cheeky and ask for 2 questions. My first question would be to Rafa Kaduri. Really impressed by your gender diversity program, and 38% of your workforces are female. Coming and obviously being managing director of a very male-dominated workforce, what advice would you give me in the industry in how I can make APMT more diverse in that sense? If I could ask you that question, please.
Thank you very much. Actually, believing in women and making it, putting a policy together and enabling women to work at their full capacity. I think this is very, very important. Hello.
Hi. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for that. And my second question was to Sheikh Abdullah Al Khalifa. Again, I love the simplicity of your ESG, but very powerful. My question is, in terms of one of the pillars was around 1.5 degree management or limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees. Could you tell me how you break down such a high level pillar so that it's really well understood by even every single one of the employees in the front line, to how they at the front line can impact such a strategic pillar?
Thank you for that. That's a great question. When I first saw our